Hey there and welcome back. ISIS is in Ohio and apparently every other state, according to terror suspect Christopher Lee Cornell. Cornell is from Cincinnati. He is accused of planning attacks on the United States and said in an interview that he would have shot President Obama. This is his interview that he gave from jail.
We're in Texas, we're in Ohio, we're in New York City, we're in Washington, D.C., we're in every single state you can name just about.
Oh, he sounds like a nutbird. Meanwhile, a 17-year-old supporter of ISIS is being held in Virginia for allegedly acting as a liaison between ISIS members and Middle East sympathizers. How worried should you be, rather, about this whole confluence of events? Ryan Mauro is a national security analyst at ClarionProject.org. Ryan, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
What's Clarion Project? What do you guys do there?
Basically, we study Islamic extremism at home and around the world.
Okay, so you hear about this Christopher Lee Cornell. He's in Ohio. He said he was going to do all sorts of horrible things, that he was going to shoot the president, he was going to blow stuff up, he was going to go to Jewish sites, and he was going to kill people and do all sorts of bad things. Do you think that he's just crazy? I mean, do you really think that what he says has credibility?
He's not crazy. I mean, when they found him, I mean, he had guns, and when you so fervently believe in this type of ideology, it's so bloodthirsty, I mean, it's not that hard to go and kill a bunch of people. Now, was he going to go and kill President Obama and do a million different things? Probably not. But was he going to actually go and kill people? That was his intention, and luckily we caught him in time.
All right, so ISIS is a magnet for dum-dums. There are a lot of people out there who are lonely, who are anti-authoritarian, who say stupid things. Do you think that everyone who says something stupid on Twitter and Facebook should be arrested?
No, absolutely not. But actually, a lot of them are geeks. A lot of them are very smart. It's a combination of...
What do you mean a lot of them? You mean American ISIS sympathizers or actual ISIS fighting jihadists right now?
Both, but I would say the proportion of those that are smarter are those that are overseas because they were intelligent enough to know how to get there.
Yeah.
But when you look on Twitter, I mean, it's a combination of geeks and wannabe gangsters. It's a totally different personality profile than what we're used to from the Puritans of Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. And let's talk about that a little bit because technology is such an important factor in recruitment. And these guys are lonely, but they're incredibly savvy. Why is there not a better alternative to get these guys, I don't know, not interested in killing a bunch of innocent people halfway across the world?
It just comes to the fact that this is a very addicting ideology. It starts with this idea that Islam is not just a faith, that it's a political doctrine. So you're supposed to implement Sharia governance, combine mosque and state, and then rebuild the caliphate. These are the basic themes. And then from there, it escalates to saying, okay, well, there's a war on Islam and you have to do something in order to wage that battle. And it also has a lot to do with, look at me. I mean, there's a lot of bravado and ego that goes into it.
Yeah. It sounds like a really well-run cult, like a really effective cult. Like they've figured out, I mean, if you take all the tenets of a cult and all the tenets of ISIS, it's essentially the same thing, only rarely are cults murderous of other people. And, you know, I'm wondering, like, what will the algorithm be in the future to deprogram these people before they get radicalized?
There's definitely a cult dynamic, but what makes it so much more dangerous is that this is the offspring of really well-founded Islamic interpretations. It doesn't mean that most Muslims agree with those interpretations, but it stems from ones that are widely held, like resurrecting the caliphate, and then they just take it a step further. So whereas with a cult, you would say, okay, well, these people are just crazy, so you can't... They're
not just crazy. I mean, they have very specific, like, they're supposed to defend whatever it is that they worship. They're convinced that it is being attacked from the outside, and it has to be preserved. I mean, there are a lot of similarities.
And they'll debate you, too. Before their accounts are getting shut...
well, they'll yell at you and then claim to want to murder you.
Well, that's debate nowadays, right?
Sure.
Well, when you looked on social media before their accounts were being shut down left and right, they loved engaging people, even like myself, anyone that would talk to them, and they would love that real intellectual battle taking place. So they're very well studied, and honestly, they say that they're the cool jihadists. That they're the ones that put out the slick videos, they're the ones that crack jokes on the internet, will reference Western pop culture. So they are able to tap into the younger generation like Al-Qaeda wouldn't be able to.
All right, so do you really think that ISIS is in every state? And what does that mean? Does that mean dum-dums in their mom's basement? Or does it mean they're actual cells of people living together like vampires?
In some cases, a lot of them are losers. Now, technically, when this ISIS terrorist says, okay, well, there's ISIS in every state, I mean, that may be technically true. But let's also be aware of the type of messages that they like to put out. They're very media savvy, and they know that they have the ability to write headlines for us, that when they say something that's dramatic, they can basically predict how the media is going to cover it.
Well, I predict
manipulate
that this story isn't going to go away. I just hope it doesn't turn into NSA hysteria. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, coming up next, I will take you back to a major event that rocked the music world in